Okay, so we are, I know it's been quite a bit before I posted, but it's just been really freaking busy here. I got so much stuff going on. So we'll just jump back on this. This is the Rider KITT Replica. So this is the roof panel that I picked up. And I mean, it's got like just barely any surface rust, but that's all going to be treated. Everything's getting prepped and stripped and prepped first. So the big thing is like there's no rust through. That's all really just normal surface stuff that you guys don't see inside your cars because your headliner's on, but this exists in every car. All of it does. So again, it's just surface rust. Once I hit this with a wire wheel, it's going to take it right off. I'll prep it with some acid, which is going to etch the metal. It's going to prevent it from ever rusting. It's going to put a phosphorus coating on it. I'm going to hit it with some primer, paint it black. You're not going to ever see this stuff. It's never going to rust again. So when I'm done with this, we're good. So here's the inside. We'll start with this. So this panel was right here. Sorry for my poor videography. I drilled out the spot welds, as you can see, and that's pretty much it. Then I had to pop this spot weld inside. So let's start with that. So let's talk about where all the spot welds are. So we have 4 up here, we have 1 here, we have 1 that was deep here. This one was barely holding on. Then there was 2 here, 1, 2, 3 spot welds. That was it. And then it did have 2 screws, 1 here and a screw up here. So once you pop those out, this comes off. And what we can see is we do have some inner frame work here. This part was spot welded to this brace here, and this brace runs all the way through, all the way down into the car. So I didn't want to cut that off the car. That's why I'm taking this apart. I want to cut as little bracing as possible. So what we can see here is we have a few different layers. We have some bracing in here. So you see this brace. I don't want to cut through this brace on the car. I don't want to cut through that brace. This brace here I don't want to cut through on the car. But we have the outer skin, the quarter panel. This is the sail panel for the quarter. Comes down and it bends down here. That's this piece here. So if I cut up through here straight, the only panel that I'm cutting that's a brace is this little tiny piece right here. Now the key to this is it's okay to do that if you can get to it to weld it. And now that I have this piece off, I can get to it to weld it. So all I have to do is weld a couple inches up in here, up in here from the inside, and then the outside is right here. The outside will have a seam right here. The factory seam is up here. You can see right, I'm sorry, this thing's not focusing. The seam is right here, you can see it. This would go all the way down this sail panel. This is 2 pieces of metal. You have your T-roof panel, and then you have your sail panel. And these would actually overlap, and then they would just spot weld it, and then they would fill this with, in old cars they'd use lead. Now they can use different types of like a metal type Bondo, metal reinforced Bondo, fake lead, and they fill that in and then they paint over it. That's what this brace is for. This here is to help hide and strengthen the that seam. This seam is right here, goes straight down on the other side. So I thought about, oh, maybe, and I'll see if I can separate that some. And if I can, then I have to cut the roof high on the Trans Am. It's covered right now. So on the other Trans Am, when I go to cut the roof off, I'll cut it off way high up here to give me extra metal. And then I'll separate the seams there. I'll separate this seam, And ideally, if I can put it together on the seams, I like doing that. But if I have to make another seam, it's not a big deal. I can even take a piece of scrap metal, bend an L in it for reinforcement, stick it up in there, and weld against it. It's not a big deal. Again, many quarter panel replacements and stuff are not done this well anyways, and no one can ever tell that they were done. And this is going to all be behind other panels. No one's ever going to see it. So I just want it right. I want it strong, which is why I'm not going to be cutting through this brace. I'm not cutting this brace off. I'm putting everything back the way the factory had it. That's why I take the time to drill out the spot welds. So I'm really excited. I figured this out, how I'm going to take this roof off. I'm going to do the same thing down here. This is layered panels. I'm going to drill them out, take it out, so that way when this panel goes back on, it's going back on full, and it's going to be spot welded together like the factory to keep its strength. I hate when people hack these straight off and then they weld around it and they can't get all the layers in the middle welded, so it's only relying on the strength of the outside skin. And that's a hack. Don't do that. Take the extra hour, even if it takes you 3 hours to figure it out. Take it apart. Take it apart on the car. Get your measurement, the length of your A-pillar. Set it up, weld it together correctly. It'll go together like a puzzle piece. It's really nice fitting, and it's going to be strong. God forbid the car ever rolls over or something lands on it. This is going to have its original strength. The other thing you can do too on these, and I have done this, you can take some channel, put it up inside, and weld it in there, and then that actually makes this even stronger, because to be honest with you, T-top roofs kind of lose their strength when they cut these parts out. So just another idea. So that's where we're at. I just got to take this one off. Now that I know how to do it, it's really not a big deal. And then I will work on doing the same thing on the car itself. It is getting colder outside, really stinks. I'll be pulling that into the garage there. So we do have other projects that I've just finished. I'm pretty happy with this. This drive belt almost snapped on my Bobcat, which would have left this thing dead. Even though it would run, that runs the hydraulic pump, which runs the wheels. So I got that replaced. I replaced the alternator belt that did snap, did an oil change, replaced the filter, put some new fluids in it. So I'm pretty excited that that's done. And I know everyone's commenting about the Batmobile, so yes, the Batmobile, I'll just do a quick one for you guys. I had to shorten it a little bit in the front, so that way the front end could fit on this. I did stretch the frame, and I made it so that the frame, because when they stretch these, they're only, or when they make these rather, they don't stretch it. But this frame only overlaps this much, so I overlapped it 12 inches. I drilled holes in the side, so that way I could plug weld the new frame to the old frame, which is another way of doing it. And then I'm going to weld all the way around it and down it. So this is going to be welded in 3 different ways. It's going to be a very strong stretch. I'm going to box it in to make the frame rails even stronger so it doesn't flex. There's going to be cross bracing going in this, and a floor that's welded side to side. This frame is going to be so rigid and strong just from that. We're just making sure we had the right length of the body, but this body will be mounted to an inner structure that we're building on this. So right now this frame is stretched. It's going out to a body shop to throw on an alignment rack. We want to make sure this frame is straight as an arrow. Then it's going to the sandblaster. It's going to be stripped. It's going to be primered and weld through primer, and then it's going to be painted. So I just wanted to make sure when we start welding things to it that it had weld through primer on there, just to make it easy and protect it. So we got wheels on order. I mean, my other Batmobile, just in case people were wondering, My other Batmobile over here already has the correct centerline wheels on it. This has a nice frame to it, so I'm trying to get this Batmobile caught up to the other one. These are going to be built side by side. This one's for a friend. He's just paying us to get his done with ours. He too got screwed by some idiot down in Georgia. Poor guy. But anyways, this will be done. He's getting an LS motor put into this, and it'll just be a freaking cool display car to drive around in. Mine's going to be a little bit different build. Mine's going to have the machine guns that pop up out of the hood. Mike's won't. Mike's will. He wants an afterburner on the car, so I'll have an afterburner. He's going to have an afterburner flame that shoots out the back of this, so that'll be cool. Mine's going to be fully remote control, and his will not be. That's kind of insane, so I probably shouldn't have done it to mine either. But what else? There's bat disc doors that pop open, and we're going to make like little foam Nerfs discs that will fling out, and I think that's pretty much it. Like, that's really all there is to it. So they are cool. Looking forward to these this year, and I'll probably start a build video thing on these just because people have been asking about it. But there you go. So that's where we're at with the KITT car, and also with the Batmobiles. Thanks for your support, guys. I love the comments. I like reading them. I love any type of feedback, good or bad. Just keeps you thinking, making sure that you're doing the best you can. So keep up the good work, guys.